And we're live. Peter, welcome along.
And good morning.
Or afternoon.
True.
Is now here.
Is the weather like over there today, mate?
We've got a lot of rain here today.
Ah,
Which is
it's
a bit of a change.
a bit overcast, a bit cool. Not raining yet, so
Excellent.
it's not too bad in Sydney today.
Cool. So this week we're going to have a chat about Trailhead. I always wonder exactly how you pronounce it. TrailheaDX, TrailheaDX. They got the capitalization at the end. Do you know the correct
I think it's,
interpretation?
I've always pronounced it as TrailheaDX.
Yeah,
So,
I think there's something clever happening with the D there that we, and of course DX stands for developer experience, which is what the conference is all about.
which is interesting because there's a bunch of admin stuff in there this time around.
There is.
I don't know what that was like that last time, but yeah, that developer tag might be slightly moving. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, mate, why don't we start with a little bit of history? So,
Do we have to? I know where you're going with this.
You can share only what you want to share, Peter. So the very first Trailhead DX conference was in San Francisco in 2016, and you and I were both there. I think we both knew each other, but we weren't colleagues as we are now.
Indeed.
For that inaugural event, I think it was a 2-day or maybe a 3-day event, and it was a small theatre on Market Street, kind of down the wrong end of Market Street.
Yeah.
From memory, but a very historic theatre, and yeah, it was a busy first conference. I remember going to a few sessions that were breakout sessions in rooms that couldn't hold more than 12 people, kind of thing, and kind of people hovering at the door and trying to peer in. I think they maybe underestimated how popular that first one would be.
Yeah, and I think it was also something that was put together really quickly. I think Benioff saw that there was a bit of a gap in the year or in the experience between Dreamforce and the various World Tour events that were going on.
Yep.
And Trailhead DX was a good thing to happen in the middle of the year, and so that Salesforce team threw it together really, really quickly. And it was an interesting venue, that's for sure. Not the normal type of venue that you'd expect to have for a Salesforce event. So.
It was good. It was entertaining, and that was the first time got to see Lenny Kravitz, who later performed at Dreamforce 2018, 17 or 18, I think. So they always pull in the big guns for a show like that.
Which will be interesting because I think they're alluding to a special guest in the opening of this one. So I wonder who that was. I think it's a performance. Yeah. They've sort of said so.
Yeah,
it's not going to be Apex and the Limits. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So that's all we'll say on that, shall we? We won't dig up and post any video online video links.
Don't have it.
Yeah. Shall we jump into it then? So
yes,
both of us have gone through the agenda for next week, which you can now register at salesforce.com/trailheadx. You just use your Trailhead account to register, and you get access to sign up for all of the sessions, which are all online, virtual. One of the only challenges I think we're going to face, Peter, is the timing. So it kicks off at 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is 4 a.m. for me and 2 a.m. for you.
2 a.m. Yeah. Do I stay up or do I get up early? I'm not really sure.
One of those questions, yeah. My assumption is that these sessions are going to be recorded and that there'll be the chance to watch them after the event. So fingers crossed that is the case.
Yeah. And look, the other thing is it's a totally different experience this time around because it is totally 100% online. So where there's been elements of that previously, this thing has been delivered 100% online. So
yep.
It'll be very similar to World Tour in Sydney.
That's what I was just going to say. I'd expect they've got all of the technology and the platform sorted out to run these events again and again, and we know that Dreamforce will be virtual as well. So this is really a dress rehearsal for that.
So
cool.
Some interesting sessions, and it's interesting that you and I both did our agendas separately, and it's actually quite interesting how there are a few sessions that we've both signed up for, so that are the same.
Yep, yeah, a bit of overlap there, and some interesting stuff, and a lot of it, as you suggested earlier, is not necessarily developer focused. And I certainly was looking, for our audience here, I was looking for some of the more admin focused sessions to go to, and so if we kick off with the first one that we both identified, low code love, from dynamic experiences to walkthroughs. So this, what stood out for me on this one is it seems to be alluding to one of the upcoming features around dynamic pages, which is moving out of the traditional page layouts that have even in Lightning are still configured in the same way as they have been in Classic since day dot. And this new functionality that I think we talked about a few weeks ago when we were talking about summer upcoming features in the next release. This dynamic pages and what you can build on that. And I think some of the flexibility that gives users actually will steer people away from having to do custom components and the like, and actually be able to create powerful dynamic experiences with low code. Low or no code potentially. This session stood out to me for that reason. And combining multiple features together to create that experience. So again, we can only go off the description of the session, but it talks about in-app guidance. So once you start combining dynamic pages, in-app guidance, you're layering on top of these things to create a really great user experience for your end user.
I think it's what I'm hoping, and we'll actually see a demo of this during that session, but I'm hoping it's one of those things that is potentially going to change the way we use Salesforce. The whole dynamic experience, the ability to actually pop different things up depending on what you're answering, is something sort of it's going to make it so much of a better user experience all up. So I'm actually quite excited about seeing this one, seeing it in the wild, because we've seen the posts and all that type of stuff, but haven't actually seen it live at all.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see when it's also being rolled out. So hopefully they'll give us a timeline on that.
Yeah, because it has been alluded to for a little while now. But I haven't seen any kind of firm release dates. I think the next release they were still talking about very much a beta preview feature as opposed to anything GA.
Yeah. I can think of a whole heap of use for it in and a bunch of our customers, for example.
Yep.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one to see. So interesting, it was number one on the list, basically.
Yeah, and this one and a couple of the other sessions we'll talk about actually start to they're showcasing future features, which I found was interesting that they use these conferences, Dreamforce, and to kind of give you some insight into what's coming as well, and not necessarily just what's available today. So a little bit of revealing behind the kimono.
It's good. Good.
All right. What was the what's next on our list?
Next one is decluttering your org, which is it's one of the topics that we talk about quite often, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So this one's about basically trying to understand what your org is, and I think how you go about untangling that. We've talked about it before. I think we've actually talked about it on the live stream before as well.
Yep.
About having just a mess in your org, and over time things can get messy. So it would be an interesting session to dive into that, see what their recommendations are, how you unpick things, how you'd work out what things can go, what you should keep, I think more importantly as well. It's interesting that they've used the phrase, are you trying to figure out why you have 500 fields on an object? Who thought that would be a good idea? Someone at 499 should have gone, hang on. No, we've got to stop now.
We're on a slippery slope here. Yeah, and a lot of that, it'd be interesting to see out of the session is a lot of it's not technical.
No.
It's as you say, yes, the system has a limit of 500 fields technically, but there's a decision-making process before that led you to be in that situation. There's design aspects that rules haven't been followed at some point in time to get you into that state in particular. So maybe it's almost about taking that step back to understand how you're going about designing and architecting your org.
Yeah, I think it's one of the critical things that gets missed at times, because you can do so much stuff so easy in Salesforce. You can easily add a field, you can do all that stuff. And sometimes people forget to actually take the step back and go, how are we going to use this? Where is it going to be used? Is this the right thing to do? And you end up with this huge amount of technical debt over time. And it's not just fields and things like that. There's other technical debt that sort of creeps in over time. So you sort of need a routine, a regular routine to go through and just, I think, reassess things or keep on top of what your org's doing and what you're doing, how you're using it, right across the board. So,
Yep, for sure. The next one was one that I added. Build integrated and scalable apps using Salesforce Functions. And what jumped out about this one for me is, I believe this is something that was announced last year under the codename Salesforce Evergreen.
okay.
And I believe it looks like it's now been renamed as Salesforce Functions. And I know what they were trying to achieve with that was this notion of functions as a service, which has become very popular in the AWS world with AWS Lambda. So it's how can you build these serverless functions in the language of your choice as well. So, what they're talking about here is the ability to basically write JavaScript, Java, or Apex to solve a problem. And how does that attract other developers with other skill sets into the ecosystem to build additions or integrations? I guess we still need, and what I'm curious to see from this session is what's the use case that you would actually go down this path. So it's, a very developer focused session, but in the world now where I think one of the criticisms is perhaps Salesforce started off as a very open platform, built on open source languages, but now the use of Apex and the like is seen as quite proprietary. So what can they do to bring other language stacks in to appeal to a wider developer base?
Which is, I mean, it's something that has been talked about numerous times over years, where they've had various goes at this. This one looks like it's stuck, which is good. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see what you can do with that. I mean, I'm by no means a developer, but it's the use case, as you said, and the potential capabilities that it's going to open up for what you do, but also for the developer market, I think, as well. If we're not restricted to writing Apex and etc., then that opens up who can do what in Salesforce. So it's good.
Yep.
Big step forward.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. What do we got next? MuleSoft Accelerator for Salesforce Clouds. So yeah, I think I added this one, and it's again, what I like about these sessions is you get to see things that the things that aren't just instantly available in a dev org or easily available to kind of see and understand beyond release notes, and I definitely put MuleSoft in that category.
Yep.
As far as I know, it's not as simple as signing up for a dev org like it is with the core product, and so as a result, we don't know the product as well as other parts. And I like the idea here that there's obviously or always been some aspects of pre-built connectors and configurations for connecting MuleSoft into your org, but what's the next level of that actually solve for use cases? I guess that's what I'm imagining this will uncover is, we've got these different buckets of data, almost sales data, service data, and how does that actually all link with other systems in your organization to really harvest the insights that you're looking for? And does that then get pumped back into Einstein Analytics or Tableau, or what does the big picture look like once you kind of go all in this MuleSoft world? So that's what I'm sort of hoping to get out of this session.
Interesting. They call out service and commerce. And I'm assuming that commerce is in Commerce Cloud. So yeah, I mean, yeah, MuleSoft's interesting. Probably not my jam. I'll let you go to that one.
How about the next one? Is that more your jam?
That's a good question. This one's yours. You picked this one, so
Yeah. Well, it sounds cool. The Security Command Center.
it does. It's a very good. It sort of sounds Thunderbirdish.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, just some interesting things to kind of pull out of this one as I read it. So very much targeted at the big end of town, I suspect, which probably means it'll have a big end of town price tag attached to it. But it's talking about a multi-org, multi-cloud world. So, and this is a problem we've looked to tackle in the past. When you've got multiple orgs, multiple production orgs, multiple sandboxes under each of those orgs, where's your one centralized dashboard that's showing you the status of all of these things and where your areas of focus need to be? And we tried to build a tool a few years ago to try to address this. Whereas an app on Heroku where you could basically go in and add each of your orgs and create a connection to those orgs, and we would kind of surface up a dashboard of how the Apex tests were running in each org, so you could kind of see, okay, this broke, this org's got broken tests that need to be addressed and that kind of thing. This is obviously going to take it to that next level again in terms of, and this, I don't know how you feel, but I struggle with the number of security alerts to review in each org now. They seem to be coming faster and quicker than before, and understanding their impact, the risk that they pose, and the impact on your users to actually just, tick activate and actually understand what's that going to mean for my users. Okay, now suddenly doesn't work on Internet Explorer older versions, or different scenarios that you actually have to think twice before you go ahead and activate a certain alert. So I'm imagining this will kind of aggregate that a little bit and say, okay, well, here's something that's critical. It's been activated in these orgs, but not these orgs. Here's your path to correct that.
It's the first time that we've seen this. I haven't heard of Security Command Center before, so
no,
it does sound like something new.
It jumped out of me.
So.
It jumped out to me as shiny and new, so I gravitated towards it.
So we are getting some shiny new stuff. Gotta love that.
And I guess the thing on that would be timing wise, we're getting the summer release this month and next month. So I guess anything we're talking about would be the winter release.
Yeah, I think then too.
North American seasons. Well, slightly off topic, but it always catches me out that there's no autumn/fall release. They choose 3 of the 4 seasons, but that's the way it is.
I do wonder when that release will happen this year, given that the summer has been delayed. So,
true.
Again, hopefully we'll hear something about that soon. So,
kind of related.
I like this next one.
Yeah, and I think this is an existing feature or feature that's come out in recent releases. So, overcome the challenges of sandbox seeding. So, in having a good release process, having your sandboxes set up well is pretty crucial. And having the right data in sandboxes to do UAT testing and the like, but then also not having personally identifiable information in those sandboxes that could find its way into the outside world. It's a delicate balancing act, and I've seen tools out there that kind of do some of this in the past. I think Prodly is one tool I know of that can move data around and do some of the masking. But this seeding and masking aspect seems to be a feature that's come in recent releases.
And something that was desperately needed for a long time. I mean, we've seen it'd be interesting to take a straw poll and see how many people have actually had an issue with emails being sent out from a sandbox when they shouldn't have been, and like to real people and all that type of stuff. So, or information in there they shouldn't have. So, I think we've all at least seen one of those occurrences in our time for sure. So, it's good that we've got this. It'd be good to dive into it a bit more and see what, hopefully the best use case. Well, best, that's not what I'm looking for. What's the look for? The best way to use it. I need more coffee. It's too early.
Too early. Yeah, I think that's the thing for me. It's been, I've seen it in release notes. Haven't had the chance to see it in action and expect that this session will have a demo attached and understand exactly what it's all about. My only fear with this feature is it might be another paid add-on.
Which is interesting, because I was going to say, you mentioned probably, we know Own Backup has got it, we know that Grax has got it, and all those type of things. So it's sort of it's going into that space. Are they going to charge for it? Let's hope not, because to me it should be just part of the platform offering. It's got to be part of the core, because I can't think of a time when you wouldn't need this. It's the what's the word? It's right on the tip of my tongue and I can't get it.
It's pretty fundamental.
It's the best practice. That's what I was looking for. To do this. So it should be part of the platform and it shouldn't be charged. So
yeah, and you could take the point of view that when those incidents occur that both of us have seen, it actually reflects badly on the product.
Yeah.
So it's in the best reputational point of view of the product to stop it from happening. I always wonder, every time you spin up a new org, there's some random companies and records that have real email addresses attached to them. I always wonder if there's someone somewhere is getting these emails for these fake companies as people build stuff out in dev orgs.
Not again.
Yeah.
Next one is also one that I'm actually quite passionate about, and it's good to see that you signed up for it too.
Yeah, the TrailheaDX True to the Core, and this is something that happens at Dreamforce every year, as well as the True to the Core session. Correct me if I'm wrong. The True to the Core at Dreamforce normally has Mark. Is that the one?
Yeah, he's normally there. But it's Parker's session really.
Yeah.
In the overall scheme of things. So it's good to see Brett Taylor's going to be there. So I'm guessing he's subbing in for Mark on that side of things. But and Sarah Franklin as well. It's normally a really good session. I've only ever seen it live. Don't know what it'll be like when it's it's over the online platform. And I'm hoping it does say that you can get your questions answered. I'm hoping we've got the ability to ask questions through these sessions as well. I'm assuming we will. It's probably the most valuable session I've seen when I've been at Dreamforce. So, yeah.
Yeah, it will be interesting, because one of the things I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen as well, is when someone gets up to the mic and asks a very awkward question potentially. And
I don't think there's been any one of those sessions that hasn't happened.
And they're obviously expecting that. They keep coming back to do it every year. But if it's submission through a form, it brings the risk that someone behind the scenes is filtering the questions.
Indeed.
So I hope there's an aspect that keeps it very, very real, and allows those tricky questions to be answered.
Indeed.
And so that leads us on to, I think they're basically back to back in the agenda, is True to the Core and then the Fireside Chat with a special guest.
Yeah. Yes, and I do wonder who that special guest will be. I don't think it'll be Mark.
No, I don't think that would be.
I think it'll be
anticlimax.
I mean, look, it could be anybody. We really don't know. I mean, Salesforce do have a habit of bringing in some very high-powered names and interesting people to talk to on these things. So it could be anybody. And given everything that's going on in the world at the moment, it could be about anything. So
Yep.
It's an interesting way to end out the day. So
Yep.
Or
and
morning.
I haven't actually been to any of them, but I have noticed Salesforce has been running some, I think they're calling leading through change, or some quite interesting events with a broad range of people speaking.
Yeah. The one that was at Sydney World Tour had Billie Jean King, and that was probably the most interesting discussion I've heard, seen in a very long time. So it wasn't about technology; it was about everything else. So
and some of the best Dreamforce sessions have been like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think which year it was. I think it was 2010, maybe. Bill Clinton was running late. So they brought Stevie Wonder out on stage, who had performed the night before, but just brought Stevie Wonder out on stage to have a chat. And he was far more entertaining than what Bill Clinton was when he eventually turned up.
Yep.
So
those
conversations are good.
And you got to love it. Stevie's just hanging around in the wings. Oh, come on, can you come and have a chat for a little while? Sure.
He just had some great stories, which was quite fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to see him perform live the night before.
Indeed. So I've got a couple of other ones that other sessions that I am going to go to, in addition to the ones we've crossed over before. But one that I am keen to watch is Ask the Experts, the admin edition. So which is hosted by Mike Gerhardt. So that'll be interesting. And again, anybody that's listening to us on the stream, that's probably one of the best ones to go to from an admin perspective. So might get some tips from that one as well. Never know.
It's never too late to learn something, Peter.
Novel idea, learning me. Another one I want to go and see, and this is because it's very topical at the moment, is the developing innovative partner solutions for work.com. So that's the product they've rolled out this month, and really it's to handle everything as we've talked about previously. Basically COVID. Go back to work related from the COVID situation. Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what they're talking about there from a partner solutions perspective, because they also signed up to that Workday strategic alliance. What it was recently. So again, no one sort of knows much about that at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what that's all about. And the last one is build mission critical experiences fast with Community Cloud and Salesforce CMS. This one I'm interested in because I want to know more about the Salesforce CMS side of things. Yep. I want to really, hopefully we're going to see a bit more than just a smoke and mirrors type of thing, but we've heard talk about CMS. It'd be interesting just to see what it's like and what you can do with it. So,
yeah, and that's hopefully one. I feel like the first previews of CMS were a good couple of years ago now. So hopefully it's starting to hit its stride and really be production ready and kind of feature complete to actually take on in projects. And I think it's of interest to you and I because we're looking at using this with a client project soon, hopefully. So keen to understand exactly what it's capable of and how it matches up to other CMSs on the market, and how it makes that community cloud experience better as well.
Yep.
So there's a lot of potential there, I think we've seen from day one, but it's just been about the execution and how quickly they can bring some of that functionality to market.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So whole heap of interesting sessions, and there's more. I mean, they're just the ones that we've picked out. So it certainly will be an interesting day. So.
Yep, and I've noticed a number of the sessions are actually repeating through the day. So there's popular sessions. I think obviously if you've got a clash, you can come back and see a live replay. I would hope, rather than a recorded one.
There is 36 content episodes. There is 4 broadcast channels, 9 circles of success, and 45 plus product demos. I'm reading it from the screen. I didn't memorize it.
Yeah, that will.
So there's a lot going on, basically.
There's a lot going on, basically. Yeah. Excellent. We'll obviously be able to comment on a future live stream. It might be a little. No, so for us, it's Friday next week. That
Friday
caught me
morning
out.
time. Yeah.
Caught me out yesterday when I thought it was going to clash with this next week, but it's Thursday US time, of course. So Friday morning our time. I know some of our team are planning to come in early and have breakfast together to watch some of the sessions. So
this is one of the good times to be working from home.
Yeah. have your toast and coffee at home and put on a couple of sessions in the morning. So maybe the week after that we can regroup on the live stream and chat about some of the insights that we learnt from the conference.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be good.
Cool.
Very good.
Well, that's a good place for us to wrap up this week, and look forward to, if anyone's got any feedback out there of sessions they've identified as well, feel free to get in touch and let us know, and we'll check them out, and then we can maybe talk about them in that review episode in a couple of weeks' time. But otherwise, for today, we'll wrap it up there.
And thanks again.
Thanks, Peter.
See you next week.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.